So here is Teramaze with yet again another single. It wasn't really that long ago when Teramaze released a single that wasn't off the album that actually came out just last year. It was a completely individual by itself song which was called The Heist. Now, this is another single that stands on its own. It's just a single. It's not connected to the next album, the previous album, or anything. It's just its own little thing. And again, it brings with it a fair amount of confusion when it comes to what is going on with Teramaze. Now, the album that they did in 2019 had Brett on vocals, replacing the guy who was on the album before, which was Nathan. And then the guy before that album was Brett. But the singer that was on the single last time, The Heist, that was actually Nathan, not Brett. So he's gone, the guy who did the album last year, and then the single that, came out last, that was Nathan. And now this is not Nathan. Yet after this, there is going to be a song probably with Nathan, and then after that, it's not going to be Nathan. So what the hell is going on? Now, I have kind of heard what's going on. I've heard from the guy who founded the band what is going on. He's done a video on Facebook, and I've listened to that, so I know exactly what's going on, and I'll get into that after talking about this song in particular. So this track is called This Is Not a Drill. It's 8 minutes 39 seconds, so it's a pretty lengthy track. And the singer for this is actually been in the band the entire time. And it's not Brett nor Nathan who have been the singers for somewhat the length of Teramaze's career. So who is this? Well, it is the founding member and one of the lead guitarists. It is Dean Wells. He is actually now the singer in this track. And some of you'll think, well, he's just the guitarist. How good really is his vocals? He may even be the backing vocalist through Teramaze, but he was the backing vocalist, and then they had the actual singer. So how good can this guy truly be? If he was that good, he would have been the singer, but no, he was just backing, if not just the guitars. Therefore, Brett and Nathan would clearly be better, wouldn't they? So how bad is Dean at singing? The truth of the matter actually is, luckily, he isn't bad. Now, according to Dean, he has been singing for a fair while, actually. He does actually do singing. He knows how to sing. He's sung in other bands, I think maybe before Teramaze. And he's also, when he records the music, because he's the founding member, he's the one who does all of this. So he writes pretty much majority of everything. And when he lays down the vocals and then sends it to Nathan or Brett, whoever's singing at the time, he sings it to show them what he's kind of going for. So this is how I want you to feel and kind of sound. This is my idea of what I want. And he sends it. So he actually writes the music for his voice and then sings it himself the way he wants it. And then just has other singers just basically mimic what he has already done. So this basically means he's cutting out all of that. It's him doing it the way he actually wants it and with the emotion he is actually going for. Now, obviously, he hasn't been doing it professionally for a while, so he is a tad rusty, and I think that This Is Not a Drill is basically just a little kind of test, just to see how his voice is. It's just basically a focus on how he sounds, how the fans react. I don't think it's really trying to be some kind of very technical musical thing with, unbelievable leads and guitars and melodies and things. It is basically just trying to kind of show his vocals and just do something to kind of put himself out there before anything happens. Just, this is the way I sound, basically. So because when he did the songs before and he sent it to the other singers, it does mean that when he says this is the way I want it to sound and everything, it means when he's hired Nathan and Brett, he's hiring people who actually sound somewhat like him. So Dean doesn't sound that different. He does not have a vitally different voice. It's not basically just like, God, this is not like Teramaze, this is so different. it's still pure Teramaze. It doesn't sound very weird, different. It's not scary, like, oh, I don't know how I feel about this. He just sounds the same. He basically kind of is a mix between Brett and Nathan. He has a bit of both of them in his voice, and he has a bit more of a warmer tone than Brett. Brett is quite kind of high, and then Nathan kind of has a bit more of that open sound. Dean is a little bit kind of deeper than that and has a lot of warmth in his voice, but he has amazing melody. So going into this track, it starts kind of soft, and then the riff kind of just immediately kicks in after the soft start, and then Dean comes in. And as I say, his voice is amazing. Brett and Nathan both have absolutely incredible voices. I do prefer Brett. I think he's more versatile. I know a lot of people prefer Nathan. I just think Brett just has more versatility to his voice and can also display more emotion than what Nathan can. Like, Nathan can do emotion very well, but Brett, I think, can do a variety of different emotions. So, hearing Dean, he sounds warm. He has this warm tone. It's got a bit of a deepness to it. And he holds on to his words. It's not a fast-paced song. It takes its time. His voice is very mellow and melodic and very warm. It's a very, very soothing voice that he has, and it sounds very nice. It just has this very nice flow to it. It's not sharp, aggressive. He's not trying to belt out notes. He is just singing very mellow, articulating his words. It is very, very nice and very well done. And then the riff that is underneath that is obviously keeping another kind of, just keeping the melody going. There's nothing complicated going on about it. When it gets to the chorus, Dean does kind of louden up a little bit, but he still holds on to his words, so he's not just getting words out as fast as he can. He still holds on to his words. He's just basically took it into a bit more of a higher register than being mellow. It's just a bit more higher, a bit more energy in his vocals. The song doesn't change that much in sound. It's basically just a bit more energetic than what the verse is, which is very mellow. And then near the end of that chorus, he really holds on to his words and just puts the energy in, but keeps it mellow, but just a bit louder. And it sounds very nice. And the song kind of goes like that for a while until you get after the second chorus. And then there's a bit of play from the band, and then it goes even more mellow, where things kind of cut out a little bit, and you just got Dean singing very softly, melodically. And then the guitar isn't there the whole time. It kind of comes in and out, just doing this little bit of this kind of... It's not exactly a lead, but it is to an extent. Just this kind of melody, just a few notes of a melody. And it's simple, it's nothing complicated. It's just this really nice melody that is very effective because it takes its time and then it uses its moments because it's not always there. So when it comes in, it's very appreciated and the notes linger and they're all emphasized because it goes slow. So it's got incredible melody. The guitar knows what it's doing. It's not trying to fill the song as much as it can. It's taking its time, plays these really slow notes that are very melodic, and then it leaves. And then you're just left with Dean, and then the guitar just comes in very subtle with these nice melodic notes. And it's very effective. And then right at the end, Dean is mellow, but then his voice goes very high. So, mellow, but goes into a higher register. And it's very nicely done again. Like Brett, not Brett, I'm used to saying Brett now, because he's who I've been saying in most of the reviews now. Dean sings with a lot of emotion, which is something that Dean does musically. Again, I'll discuss it later. But he sings with a lot of passion. Like, he has a lot of melody in his voice, and you can really tell that he's not singing for the sake of singing. He is really feeling this, and he's really trying. So he feels this song. He has a lot of emotion. There is so much melody in his voice and just so much grace. It really feels like this guy is really connected to this melodic song. It just has a beauty in his voice. It is so warm. It sounds amazing. As for where else the song kind of goes, that is basically it. You basically just get the kind of soft, really soft melodic parts, that same verse and that same chorus. There's nothing else really different about it for the 8 minutes 39. It's just the fact that the song really does take its time because it's slow and melodic. You get 2 solos. Both of them are pretty damn short, which is quite disappointing. The first one is from the other guitarist, which is melodic and has a little bit of speed put on the end. Dean's solo is the one that comes afterwards, I believe. Dean's is a lot better because the guy puts emotion into his solo. Like, it's got a bit more of that kind of blues kind of influence on it. So it's got a lot more emotion on it, and then the tone is just a lot more soft and rich and nice. It's just a very nice tone. He takes his time. The notes are very well put together. And again, it's just Dean puts the emotion into it, and you can really feel it. It's a beautiful sounding solo. It's just a shame that they're both really short. It is kind of disappointing, and it is a fear I have from Dean taking over the vocals now, because if he's taken over the vocals, it means when there's kind of all these leads and interesting things through songs of riffs and in the choruses and things, if Dean's singing, how complicated is this going to be for him to pull off? Is he going to be singing and really doing these elaborate kind of filler sections in, these verses and choruses? I don't know. Is he now going to care more about singing and not care about doing a beautiful solo? This guy really does care about his work, but he does seem that at the minute he's really involved in vocals. And I know this is the first. He really wants it to work. He really wants this to be good. And he hasn't done this before, since this is like it. So I can tell the effort and the worry that he probably has, and he really wants his voice to be perfect. This is his band. He really cares. I am basically just hoping he doesn't forget that he is an incredible guitarist and he has so much emotion, and he should keep delivering these really beautiful solos. The album Her Halo has incredible solos, like that track Broken. Holy crap, is that a beautiful, unbelievable solo. It is so beautiful. Unlike all these other guitarists who have no bloody emotion, it is absolutely hollow, the sound of these solos, and they go purely for speed. Dean pretty much consistently always has melody and emotion to it, as well as technicality, but it's always an emphasis on melody. Throughout every part of Teramaze, there is always melody, and I adore that. So I hope he doesn't give up on that, and it's basically just massive chunk sections just full of vocals, and then just nice melodic music, but no showmanship of this beautiful sounding guitar piece, where the guitar does some singing, and you can get some, you can hear how talented the guitarist is, instead of it just disappearing off the planet now. So I hope the guitars aren't forgotten about. But as far as this song, as I say, it is 8 minutes 39, and it is technically quite simple. There's not much of an intro. It's just soft, and then it gets immediately into your verse. Then it goes to your chorus, then the verse, chorus. Then it goes to kind of like the bridge section where it changes, and then you get the kind of solo, then another kind of piece that you've heard before. Dean's solo, then you kind of start wrapping up on that chorus. So it's just big stretched out chorus and stretched out verses and bridge sections, and then really short solos, which is disappointing. So there's not a lot of progressive elements and a lot of different changing parts to the song. But I do take this as basically, I think, Dean just trying to basically get something out there quick that shows his vocal ability. He's not really trying to do something really musical and something that's quite deep. It's basically just, this is his voice. He did make the music sound really, really good, but I do think this was something a little bit more rushed. I do prefer this over The Heist, because The Heist, I think, just was basically a song that was like the previous album, We Are Soldiers, and there was nothing really different about it. So it's like, well, I've heard We Are Soldiers. The Heist kind of sounds similar to that. So, as for this, it's a great sound. Comparing it to other Teramaze, I think this is actually like a hybrid of Teramaze that have all come before. There's a bit of, Are We Soldiers in this? There's a bit of historic symbolism. I can never pronounce that friggin' album. There's a bit of her Halo in there. It's basically Teramaze, all of it come together and is now all the best bits together. So I am very excited of hearing where this now kind of goes. So rating this song, I will give it an 8. It is a solid song. It doesn't go anywhere really special because I would kind of need more kind of solos and kind of musicianship, as well as a bit more kind of elements musically in there. But what was there was beautiful. The voice was fantastic, and then Dean's solo, like that second solo, was a lot better. I just wish I could have heard more of it. So 8 out of 10, and I'm really looking forward. Now this next section is going to be Teramaze's future and explaining what has actually been going on. So as I've been saying previously in the video, there's a lot of confusion going on with what the hell's going on with Teramaze. Are We Soldiers was the album that came out in 2019, which featured Brett replacing Nathan. And then we got the single The Heist, which was its own thing, which featured Nathan, not Brett. So Brett obviously had left. And then also, I was confused in that video what was going on as well and what Dean was had been saying. But there's another song of Nathan, which is actually going to be the sequel of her Halo, which is a song which is around 24 minutes or something like that. So it's a long song, but it's just a song. It's not an album or anything. It's a song that's about 24 minutes that has Nathan, and it is the sequel to her Halo. Now, obviously, that's not come out yet, and now there's this track, which is This Is Not a Drill, and that is Dean, the guitarist. So, this is a new singer. This is Dean, the guitarist and founding member of Teramaze. And then the song to come after, I would imagine, is this sequel that has been done for a while now with Nathan. And Dean has also actually done an album now. So, there is an album coming. But that's not Nathan, that's Dean, the guitarist and founding member of Teramaze. So, the thing is, what's going on? Why is there so much back and forth? Who is the actual singer of Teramaze? And why all this changing? Well, I know because Dean has gone on Facebook and actually been talking about it. So, I'm going to tell you now. So, Dean is the vocalist. That is the way it is. The stuff with Nathan is basically because Dean just wanted to do something with Nathan. That was it. It's not the fact of, oh, he was a singer, but then Dean kind of changed his mind very quickly. No, it's just he wanted to do something with Nathan. He wanted to do a sequel song to her Halo. He had that in his mind. So if he has that in his mind and it was going to be good, then the clear person to sing it is going to be Nathan. And then because that was taking its time to come about, that's probably why The Heist was kind of done. They just wanted to have a bit of fun. That was it. But the actual vocalist is now Dean. So why is Dean the vocalist? Well, as I was mentioning, Dean writes the music. He writes the melodies. When he writes the vocal parts out, he sings it, and then he sends it to the singers and says, this is what I'm going for, this is what I want. And that means that he's already kind of done what he wants, and he is singing it, and he's writing to what his voice does. And also, the singers he hires are singers who sound like him because he wants them to kind of replicate what he has just done. So you kind of get to this point of like, well what's really the point? If Dean can sing and he's writing it for his voice and he gives it to someone else to try and get as close as they can, why really bother? Why not just have it as Dean? Because Dean writes with a lot of emotion. So this is the thing where I do kind of agree with Dean in what he says. He writes with a lot of emotion, and this is true. Teramaze everything they do has a hell of a lot of emotion. The vocals have a lot of emotion. Her Halo had a lot of emotion in the vocals. Are We Soldiers had a multitude of emotional sung elements, as well as esoteric symbolism, if I pronounced that right, because I think I always pronounce that wrong. That had a lot of emotion. So Teramaze is always full of emotion, and Dean always wants that portrayed. So if it's his songs, he's the one who wrote them, he's gonna have the most emotional connection to it and understanding of it. Someone sing it was just like, oh, you're supposed to feel this, and then they try to feel it, but they don't have that connection. Isn't gonna do it as organic as Dean is going to achieve. This is Dean's music. He has wrote this. This is personal to him. This means something. He feels what the song is. So when he sings, it's going to be a hell of a lot more easy for him, and he also can sing. So why wouldn't you? This is his stuff. He understands it. So it's going to be a lot better because the emotional connection is going to be even stronger, and therefore it's going to sound that much more impactful. So he says he's not a bad guy. He didn't basically just go to Brett, who was the singer, and said, you know what, I'm just going to sing this because I understand the songs. You're not really portraying it properly, so get out of it. No, that wasn't the case. He says Nathan has his own thing, and Brett also has his own things. So it's not that he's just leaving them on the doorstep and they're going to go homeless and starve to death or anything. They have their own stuff. And he talked to them, he talked to the band as well, and they all did kind of say, why do you not do this yourself? So they also have said this to Dean, and seriously, it does make sense. As I said, he writes this stuff, he understands this, he feels it. Teramaze is very emotionally driven musically, so you do want to make sure you portray that right emotion. And Dean is writing it for himself, so it just seems a lot more complicated to give it to somebody else and say, okay, just try and do this, and then them try and just mimic it, and then you've got that other person to then deal with. Not that Dean and not that obviously Brett and Nathan can't do it and they don't achieve it. They do put their emotion in and everything. It's just a lot more organic for Dean to do this. So that is basically what has happened. Dean has always wrote Teramaze for him. It's always written for his voice, not the singer at the time. So her Halo, it wasn't written for Nathan. It was written for Dean and Dean's voice. He wrote it for his voice. He sung all them songs, but then he sent all of that to Nathan and said, okay, this is how it's supposed to sound. Try and do this. And same thing with Brett. So this is not really anything new. We're just going to basically hear the original product now. And obviously Dean is going to put a lot more effort in to really sing it because obviously that wasn't going out onto an album. So he's tightening his voice up, which is the reason for this, as well as him doing all sorts of little things at home, because his Facebook is flooded with all these things saying, this is my voice today, and here's my voice again, and here's this. Oh, here's this as well. This is the best my voice has heard. And you can keep hearing him seriously getting better and stronger in his voice. He's very passionate. He's very excited now. And that's the good thing. You want to have emotion in your music. You want to be passionate. You don't want to put music out there which has no emotion, you don't feel connected, and it's just to make money. Dean is doing this because he likes to make music. He enjoys it. He gets very emotionally attached to this, and it comes into the music, and you want to hear it in its purest form. And if he's the singer and he's the one who's written all of this, then he's going to have that emotional connection to it, not some other person. And again, Dean did emphasize, I'm not the only person doing this and I'm a dictator. No, I do take advice from people. So Nathan does have his ways of doing it. Brett also had his ways of doing it. He said one singer had more opinions than the other. I don't know which one that was. Not in a bad way. It's just like, what about this? And they just give ideas. The whole band do give ideas to Dean. But at the end of the day, it is Dean's band, and then he is doing the most. But he does listen and take in ideas. So it's not just a one-man show. It's not Dean Wells' the project. It is Teramaze. So that is what is going on with Teramaze at the minute. So there's probably going to be another single. It will feature Nathan because he wanted to do a sequel to her Halo. So that will be out, and then Dean has 100% completed the next album where he is singing, and he is going to be the future singer, because it has always been written for him. He has sung these things while giving it to the vocalists of them times, and he's just going to take over because he feels the emotion behind it, and he always wants to make sure that the emotion is emphasized and comes forward, which is the best thing. Music should have emotion to it, and Teramaze has loads of that. And as I said, I'm just hoping that he doesn't give up on the solos. He's a fantastic guitarist that puts all the emotion into the guitar as well. So I want him to keep that emphasis on his guitar playing also, as well as all the melodies through the song. Teramaze are very, very melodic and have a lot of emotion to them and a lot of weight. And I definitely can tell Dean has emotion in his voice with this song. This is not a drill. So much emotion and warmth to his voice. And the clips that he's put on Facebook just sound even better and stronger. So this is what has happened. I completely understand where Dean's coming from. It makes perfect sense. He wants that emotion. It's written for his voice. It makes perfect sense. And the emotion should come across because Teramaze, as I say, play very emotionally and very melodically. So it has to work. And Dean does have a fantastic voice. So I can't wait to hear this new album. Seriously, I'm really looking forward to it, and I'm very happy to Dean for making this idea and coming to this conclusion. It seems like it is the right way to go. I fully understand. So that's what's going on. So I'll stop this from being incredibly long because it kind of is already, and I'll leave it there. So until the next video, or if you only want to watch me for Teramaze, then whenever the next Teramaze thing comes out, I'll be there. So see you whenever, guys. See you later.